Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlene Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight. President meets with the Southern Province police chiefs. Officials instructed to take measures to combat organized crimes. Fugitive Police Chief Deshabandhu Thenakoon's assets identified and listed amidst arrest operation. Health professionals trade unions stage strike over allowance disputes.
අද මේ බාහිර රෝගියංශවල ක්ලිනික් වලට ඇවිල්ලා ජ්‍යෙෂ්ඨ පුරවැසියාට හිස් අතින් බෙහෙත් නතු ගෙදරන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා නම් ඒකේ බදු ගෙවන පුරවැසියාට කරන බලවත් අසාධාරණයක්.
Imtiaz Bakir Markers steps down as SJB chairman. Supreme Court declares Gotabe's detention order unlawful.
Taking a look at those stories in detail, President Andrew Kumar Dissanayake said that steps will be taken to provide the necessary facilities to eliminate organized crime and the drug menace, as well as to introduce new legislation. The President expressed these views during a discussion held today at the President's office with the police chiefs of the Western Province.
President Andrew Kumar Dissanayake emphasized that maintaining the rule of law is a key responsibility of the police department. The President added that a just society cannot be established in Sri Lanka without ensuring the supremacy of the rule of law. Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs Ananda Vijaypala, Deputy Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs Attorney Sunil Watagala, Secretary to the Ministry of Public Security Ravi Senaviratna, Acting Inspector General of Police Priyantha Veerasurya and several Western Province police chiefs were also present at the discussion.
The Criminal Investigation Department has commenced the identification and listing of assets belonging to suspended Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Thenakoon.
Multiple teams of the Criminal Investigation Department has commenced the identification and listing of assets belonging to suspended Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Thenakoon. A joint operation has been launched under the direct supervision of the acting IGP to arrest Deshabandhu Thenakoon, who is currently evading capture. Intelligence units are providing support for this operation. Police said that individuals aiding Thenakoon in evading arrest will also be taken into custody. Why is Deshabandhu Thenakoon, for whom open arrest warrants have been issued, not been arrested? This was raised during today's media briefing following the cabinet decision announcement.
6 teams from the Criminal Investigation Department are actively searching for him. The government is making every effort to ensure his arrest. The court's ruling has suspended his duties as Inspector General of Police, but this is not a complete termination. The law applies fairly and equally to everyone. Yesterday's Court of Appeal decision is significant, not just for his arrest, but also for holding accountable those providing him protection. I don't think it will take long. The police are working on it.
කටයුතු කරමින් ඉන්නවා කියන එක තමයි මට කියන්න පුළුවන්කම තියෙන්නේ.
ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ දැන් මේ අත්තරන් උඩ ගන්න නැත්නම් ආණ්ඩුවත් එක්ක මොකක් කර වෙන ඩීල් එකක් තියෙනවා.
දේශබන්දු තෙන්නකෝන් පමණක් නෙවෙයි.
It is not just Deshabandhu Thenakoon. There are others we are looking for as well. Are you suggesting we have a deal with Prasanna Ranavira? He is also being searched for. So 1-2 is being actively pursued. The police teams are doing everything they can, and I want to assure you, there is no escape for them.
ගැලවෙන්න බෑ.
පොලිසිය කොහොමද මහේස්ත්‍රාත් අධිකරණයට ඉහළින් යනවා කියලා නිවේදනයක් දැම්ම. කවුද ඒක කරේ? කොහොමද ඒක සිද්ධ වුනේ?
The case will be brought up again on the 21st March, and on that day the department will provide all the necessary information.
පුතාට පරීක්ෂණයක් තියෙනවා ලැබ් එකට යන්න අද ලේ දෙන්න තියෙනවා ඒක කරගන්න විදිහකුත් නැහැ දැන් ඇවිත් දින දාගෙන එක සැරයක් දැන් දෙවෙනි සැරේ දැන් අදත් දින දාන්න යන්නලු හැමදේම තැලෙන්නේ පොඩි මිනිහා පුතාට බේත් ගන්න වෙන්නේ නැහැ දැන් මට බයයි පද ලේ දෙන්න ඕනේ ලැබ් එකට පරීක්ෂණයක් පපුවේ අමාරුව එයා විතරයි ඉන්නේ මාත් ඉන්නේ අමාරුවෙන් එයා තමයි හැමදේම කරන්න බලන්න හදන්නේ එයාට මොනවා හරි කරදරයක් වුණොත් මට ඉඳලා වැඩක් නැහැ නෙමෙයි මගේ කාලේ හරි ඉදරු පටියගේ කාලේ තව එහෙම්ම මවුරුදු 36යි. බේත් ටික ගන්න විදිහක් නෑ පුතේ ඉතින්ද.
A mother desperately fighting for her son's life while ignoring her own sicknesses came to the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital today to get a medical report for her 36-year-old son. However, she was not able to do this. She was left helpless. This was because of a strike carried out by 19 health trade unions. A strike launched by health trade unions across Sri Lanka has left patients in hospitals across the country facing difficulties and frustrating conditions. The strike, which was launched in response to proposed cuts in healthcare workers' allowances, has disrupted essential services in government-run hospitals. The strike is led by former President Ranil Wickremesinghe's Trade Union Director General Saman Ratnapriya, who is also the current United National Party Kasbeva organizer and United Democratic Voice Party candidate Ravi Kumudesh.
The strike is supported by 7 professional unions, including the Association of Laboratory Technologists, the Government Radiology Technologists Association, the Association of Government Pharmacists, the Public Health Inspectors Union, the Government Dental Technologists Association, and the Family Health Services Officers Association. 11 health professionals unions from the Health Professionals Federation have also expressed their support for the strike today. Due to the strike, patients who visited government hospitals across the country today faced severe inconveniences. At the Colombo National Hospitals, paramedics were not operational today.
මේක ඇවිල්ලා රජය වටලා මුන්ට හොරා කන්න මේක වටන්න හදන්නේ. පාන්දර මිනිස්සු 3 ඉඳලා මෙලේ ගන්න වෙනවා. 3 4යි. මුන්ට හෙන ගහන්න ඕනේ මේක කරන ප්‍රවෘත්ති.
උංගා සස්තිය දෙන මිනිස්සු. කොච්චර දන්නේ නැති මිනිස්සු ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නවනේ. බෙහෙත් නෑ අදින් ඉවරයි බෙහෙතුත්. ඒකයි වැඩි. අනිත් එක මේ රිපෝට් බලලා තමයි බෙහෙත් දෙන්නේ දොස්තර මහත්තයා. එහෙම නැත්තම් දෙන්නේ නෑ බෙහෙත්.
At the National Hospital Gaul, patients who travelled from far-off areas were left helpless.
ආණ්ඩුවේ උනා සල්ලි තියෙන මේ ආකාර අපිට නැත්නම් ආණ්ඩුවට අපේ මේ මහජනයාගේ දේවල් වලින් මේ ආණ්ඩුවත් පාලනය ගෙනියනවා. මොකද්ද මේ පොන්න වැඩි? අනාථ වෙලා ඉන්නේ පොඩි වෙන්නේ. ඒ ටිකක් අපොන්න අපිට සල්ලි ගේන්නේ නැහැ. අපි දන්න බස් එකක් මොනවාද? ඒකක් අපොන්න සල්ලි ගෙන්න එපා. මේ පසේර වලට බෙහෙත් බොනවා මහත්තයා කොරෙස්ටරෝල් වලට බෙහෙත් බොනවා. ගමේ වාට්ටුවේ ඉස්පිරිතාලෙන් බෙහෙත් බොන්නේ රෝහල් වලින් පොතට. මේ කරපු අපරාධ නම් අනේ මේව නම් හොඳයි. මේවට අපි දෙස් කියන්නේ නැහැ. මේව සාප දෙනවා යාලට. වෙන ඉතින් අපිට කියන්න දෙයක් නැහැ.
This was a situation in Gampaha.
ලෝකාන උඹ ඉඳලා මේ ආවේ ඒකක් ගන්න. ඔය මිනිස්සුන්ගේ සිතිවිලි වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැතුව කවදාවත් රටවල් හදන්න බෑ. කිසිම වැඩක් නෑ. කිසිම වැඩක්. හමුදාවෙන් දාලා කරවන්න. වෙන මොකවත් නෙමෙයි. කෙලිම හමුදාවෙන් දැමන එක්කෙනෙක් කළා නම් ඔය සියලු.
Today, patients from remote areas came to the Anuradhapura teaching hospitals and were severely inconvenienced.
දෙමාපියෝ දුක් විඳගෙන මේ පාරවල් වල එන්නේ බස් වල එන්න ඕනේ දුර ඉඳන් එනවා. ඉතින් අපේ ඕන වෙලාවට බෙහෙත් ටිකක් නැතුව ගියපුවාම මොකද කරන්න කියන්නකෝ.
අතරම මේ ජනතාවගෙන් පරිගන්නේ ඇයි මේ විදිහට මේ මිනිස්සු. මේක හරි කේස්ජනක තත්ත්වයක් මේ ලංකාවට සිදු වෙලා තියෙනවා. තමන්ගේ ඉල්ලීම් දිනාගත්තට කමන්නේ. ඒක යම්කිසි ආකාරයක සාධාරණ විදිහකට ඒක කරගන්න ඕන කියන එක තමයි මගේ අදහස.
This is what people at the Kurunegala teaching hospital had to say.
මේක අපි බලන්න මේ දේශපාලන මට්ටමේ තමයි මේක මේලා තියෙන. වෘත්තීය සමිති කට්ටිය අර පක්ෂයෙන් කියන මේ පක්ෂයෙන් කියනවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ වෘත්තීය දිගාන ඉල්ල ගන්න මේ අහිංසක ලෙඩ්ඩු පාවිච්චි කරනවා. මේ මිනිස්සු පාන්දර 4:05 ඉඳන් ඇවිල්ලා මේ දුක්ඛිත ඉන්න මිනිස්සු ඉන්නේ මෙතන. ඒගොල්ලෝගේ අර දේශපාලන මට්ටමේ ඒගොල්ලෝ එක එකනාගේ මේ පක්ෂ දේශපාලනට ඇවිල්ලා ඉවරලා මිනිස්සුන්ගේ අහිංසක මිනිස්සු මේකෙන් දුක්ඛිත ඉන්නේ.
ඔය ආණ්ඩුවත් වැනෙනවා නම් හැම මිනිහම සෙල්ලම් දානවා ඒ ආණ්ඩුවත් එක්ක. ඒක පහන් තිරෙන්නේ නැතුව හැන්දෙන් පෙවුවා නම් හරි කිරි. මොකද්ද ඔය වර්ජනේ හැමදාම වර්ජනේ. පඩිත් වැඩි කරනවා නම් ඒව දෙනවා නම් කොනම කොනක් තියෙන්න එපා. හැම වර්ජනයකින්ම සාමාන්‍ය වැසියනේ තැලෙන්නේ.
Convener of the Federation of Health Professionals, who also contested the general election for the United Democratic Voice, said that the government must be held accountable for the suffering of the people caused by the strike.
අවුරුදු 40ක් පුරාවට මේ රටේ නිදහස් සෞඛ්‍ය සේවාව
For the past 40 years, the government has repeatedly reduced a vital allowance system that was crucial to maintaining a 24-hour free healthcare service across the country. These cuts have been made without any regard for their impact. So if the public is suffering right now, we urge urge them not to blame us as we take to the streets. Instead, they should direct their frustration towards the Ministry of Health for failing to fix this mistake that has been allowed to persist for so long.
A trade union meeting organized by the All Ceylon Health Professionals Trade Union Federation took place in Colombo today.
In the past, we saw that within the health sector and among the general working population, there were trade union leaders created by the governments in power. Today, we see one person who is Ranil Wickramasinghe's UNP organizer for Casbaver. Another is Dilip Javira's organizer for Boralla. The person leading today's strike is the current leadership of the GMOA. There are 3 groups involved: Sajits, Ranils and Dilits. These are the people who have become strikers. They have become like obsolete coins, defeated in their political ambitions. Now, all they are left with is complaining. They tell us they are apolitical. But there is something I want to say. We are a group that works together with a strong team spirit within the health service. Yes, we face challenges in our lives, but we are not willing to pass that burden on to you. That is why we need to improve our health service to make it better for tomorrow. Both the government and we the public officials share that responsibility. We know the government can't meet every need with just one budget, but what they have already done is more than enough for us. If a strike is necessary, let's do it, but this is not the right moment.
Health Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa highlighted that the strike, which was staged after a substantial salary increase, is unjust.
Even when this group went into discussions, they already had it in their minds that they would strike anyway. So right after the talks at the Ministry of Finance wrapped up, they announced that the strike would continue. These paramedics have received a big increase to their basic salaries. For someone earning 32,000 rupees, we are adding an extra 20,000 rupees. For someone with 37,190 rupees, we are adding another 20,120 rupees. For someone with a salary of 44,520 rupees, they are getting an additional 32,010 rupees. And for someone making 58,590 rupees, they are getting an extra 43,320 rupees. As you know, with these salary increases, all overtime and holiday allowances will also go up.
The Health Minister also commented on the impact the strike is having on patients.
This is a significant salary increase for them, yet they are still going on with the strike. But I want to remind everyone that the taxpayers, the people who fund these salaries, often have no idea how much they are paying. Today, if a senior citizen goes to a clinic, sees a doctor, gets a prescription, but then can't get their medicine from the pharmacy and has to leave empty-handed, that is a real injustice to the tax-paying citizen.
News First, with the people. The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
Accepting of nominations for the local government elections continued today as well. A total of 6 recognized political parties and 11 independent groups submitted nominations yesterday.
Accepting of nominations for the local government is being carried out at the district secretariat under the supervision of the returning officers. The accepting of nominations will end at 12 noon on the 20th of this month. The deadline for placing bonds for the election will end at 12 noon tomorrow.
The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
The Samaki Jana Balawege handed over nominations for 6 local government institutions in the Kurunegala district today. The People's Struggle Alliance handed over nominations for all local government bodies in the Kaludara district today.
This is not an election that determines who has the power over the entire country. If you believe that an alternate policy must be brought forward and that a group that citizens the policies of this government must be brought forward, we request you to vote for the People's Struggle Alliance.
Submitting nominations and placing bonds of the Samaki Jana Balawege for the local government institutions in the Gampa district continued today.
This will become an election where the main theme would be who is really looking for solutions for the issues faced by the people.
The Samagi Jana Balawegaya submitted nominations for the Mahara and Paliyagoda local government bodies as well. Candidates of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya hoping to contest for the Srijawadanapura Kotte Municipal Council signed their nominations today.
We also like to create a new political culture, but we do not want to win an election with lies. We will be truthful to the people and have fielded a team for Kotte to serve the people.
ඔබතුමාලගේ නගරාධිපති ධූර අපේක්ෂකයාද මේ ඒක ජනතාවට බාරයි. තාම නගරාධිපති ධූර අපේක්ෂකයෙක් තීරණය කළා නැද්ද? තාම එහෙම කියලා නැහැ. ජනතාවගේ අතේ තමයි ඉතින් තියෙන්නේ.
Venerable Padanangala Samithathera, who is contesting for the Moratuwa Municipal Council, independently submitted nominations today.
Imtiaz Bakir Makar has resigned from his position as chairman of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya. His resignation letter was reportedly submitted to party leader Sajid Premadasa and General Secretary Ranjit Madumbandara. SJB General Secretary Ranjit Madumbandara told Newsfirst that party leader Sajid Premadasa did not accept Bakir Makar's resignation letter.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
Vihilu නෙමෙයි ටෝකියෝ සුපර් ඕන වැඩකට සුපර්.
Are you okay? Whose fault is this? Looks like someone didn't use Tokyo Superbond for tiling. Tokyo Superbond. Do it right the first time.
Cabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that the current government's goal is to ensure that while those responsible are held accountable, no one is allowed to use state power to undermine democracy in the name of securing the future stability of society. He expressed these views during today's media briefing to announce cabinet decisions.
Yesterday morning, the Batalanda Commission report, which had been printed in all 3 languages and tabled in Parliament in March 2000, was placed on the desk of every MP. A committee will soon be appointed to carefully review the contents of the report and make recommendations. Afterward, it will be referred to the Attorney General. We will submit it to the Attorney General along with the recommendations of the Judicial and Legal Committee appointed by the President. Following that, the matter will be taken up by the Judiciary, which will decide on the appropriate course of action. Therefore, it is not for us to decide what happens next. It is the responsibility of the legal process and the judiciary. However, we will provide the necessary framework for the actions that should follow.
The minister emphasized that the government aims to set a precedent that ensures the security and stability of future society.
A government's responsibility is to ensure that while punishing those responsible for the murders, no one can use state power or any other form of power to strip individuals of their democratic rights or take their lives, all in the name of securing the future of society. These actions must be carried out systematically over time and with careful consideration. A country cannot be governed by reacting to problems as they arise.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe responded to the comments made regarding the controversial Batalanda Commission report, a topic that resurfaced following his appearance on Al Jazeera's head-to-head program. According to Wickremesinghe, the primary reason for providing housing in the Batalanda housing complex to police officers was the attack on the Sapugaskanda police station.
During this period of terror, the Sapugaskanda police station was attacked and the officer in charge was killed. At that time, Deputy Minister of Defence Ranjan Wijeyaratne contacted me and requested that the vacant houses in the housing complex be provided for the security of military and police officers. Accordingly, the then Commissioner took steps to hand over the houses to Nalin Delgoda of the Kalani Police Division.
The Batalanda Commission report revealed several details about this attack that was mentioned by the former president. On the 17th of July 1989 at 2:55 am, an explosion occurred on the upper floor of the Sapugaskanda police station. Simultaneously, gunfire was directed at the building from the south side and several individuals entered the police station by jumping over the wall. The then officer in charge, Lalit Mahanama, and his team retaliated, but one of the attackers entered the OIC's room and shot Lalit Mahanama. The attackers retreated and fled due to the police and military counterattacks. At that time, Rohitha Priyadarshana, the officer in charge of the crimes division who was away on duty, arrived at the police station with his team and launched a counterattack. 3 police officers, including OIC Lalit Mahanama, were killed in the attack, and 2 armed attackers also died. Investigations into the 2 deceased armed men who attacked the police station revealed interesting details about the attack. One of them was identified as Sumit Pereira, alias Kalua, whose father was Gonavala Piyadasa Pereira. Piyadasa had 7 brothers, including Sam, Harold, Vincent, Cyril, Shelton, Tudor, and Sunil Pereira, also known as the notorious Gonavala Sunil. The Batalanda Commission report includes a special note on Gonavala Sunil, the uncle of Sumit, who died in the attack on the Sapugaskanda police station. The report states, quote, "It is well known that Gonavala Sunil was an active supporter of the United National Party. He was also the uncle of Sumit Pereira, known as Kalua. According to Ranil Wickramasinghe, Gonavala Sunil was his active supporter and served as a regional leader of the UNP. Sunil had a close relationship with Wickramasinghe and frequently invited him to parties at his house. It was customary for Sunil to go to Katunayaka airport to welcome Wickramasinghe upon his return to Sri Lanka. Wickramasinghe acknowledged this when shown a photograph of him with Sunil and others at the airport." The Batalanda Commission report also mentions the connection between Gonavala Sunil and the Batalanda torture chamber. Quote, "According to Vincent Pereira, the caretaker of the tourist bungalow where Wickramasinghe resided, Gonavala Sunil frequently visited the bungalow while Wickramasinghe was living there." Unquote. The Batalanda Commission report states that Gonavala Sunil was pardoned by the government while serving a sentence for abusing the daughter of an individual identified as Dr. Paul. Despite numerous criminal charges, he was appointed as a Justice of the Peace, affecting the entire country. The Batalanda Commission found no evidence that Gonavala Sunil or his family members were affiliated with any political party other than the UNP. Shelton Pereira, another uncle of Sumit Pereira, the brother of Gonavala Sunil, was also arrested in connection with the attack on the Sapugaskanda police station. Shelton's wife brought this to Wickramasinghe's attention, and Shelton was promptly released from custody, as reported by the Batalanda Commission. Wickramasinghe attempted to justify the provision of housing to police officers in the Batalanda housing complex due to the attack on the Sapugaskanda police station. However, the Commission report indicated that no thorough investigation or effort to uncover the truth about the attack was made. The report noted that suspects were either released or escaped, with no further action taken. At the time of the attack, Rohitha Priyadarshana was the OIC of the crimes division. He was a skilled crime investigator who closely monitored the crimes committed by Gonavala Sunil's family. On the 8th of February 1990, Tudor Pereira, a brother of Gonavala Sunil, was abducted by Rohitha and his team, according to a complaint made by Tudor's wife to Wickramasinghe. Rohitha Priyadarshana was suspended on the 20th of February and is believed to have been murdered. Should the truth behind these crimes continue to be hidden? Shouldn't justice be served? 4 police teams have been appointed to probe a shooting that took place last night along Nagalagam Street in Grand Pass, leaving 2 men injured.
Date 17th March 2025. Time 10:36 p.m. Location Nagalagam Street, Grand Pass. A shooting was reported last night in Nagalagam Street, Grand Pass. The suspects, 2 individuals on a motorcycle, fired shots and quickly fled the scene. The victims, aged 22 and 28, were rushed to National Hospital in Colombo, where they continue to receive treatment for their injuries. 4 police teams have been assigned to investigate the shooting. Police suspect the shooting could be linked to a possible dispute between drug traffickers. Police added that the 2 men who were injured had been previously involved in a homicide case in Wattala. They had been remanded but were released on bail 2 months ago.
The Supreme Court has ruled that a detention order issued by former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa under the Prevention of Terrorism Act in the year 2020 to detain a woman for the possession of heroin was unlawful. In the judgment delivered today, the Supreme Court ordered the state to pay the petitioner a sum of 100,000 rupees for violating her fundamental rights.
The Supreme Court today issued the judgment in a fundamental rights petition filed by Kanchana Priyadarshini Madura Peruma, a resident of Pokunuvita, Henagama, who was arrested by the Special Investigations Unit of the Paliagoda Police. The judgment was unanimously delivered by a bench comprising of Justices S. Thurairaja, Dilip Nawaz and Mahinda Samyavardhana. The Supreme Court bench that delivered the judgment said that at the time the detention order was issued, there was no Minister of Defence in the country, and that the power to issue a detention order is vested with the Minister of Defence under Section 9(1) of the Prevention of Terrorism Act. The judgment states that at the time of this incident, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was operative in the country, and under the said amendment, the power to issue detention orders was not vested with the President. The Supreme Court highlighted the fact that under the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, the President was vested with the power to function as the Minister of Defence, and the said amendment came into operation on the 9th of October 2020. The Supreme Court that examined the petition held that at the time of the incident, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had no authority to issue detention orders. The Supreme Court held that therefore the detention order issued was illegal. The Supreme Court also held that as former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had not been named as a party in the petition, compensation cannot be sought from him for the violation of the fundamental rights of the petitioner.
In the heart of Anamadua, lives are changing. For years, patients travelled miles for life-saving treatments, but not anymore. Gammatha renovated a building to establish a dialysis unit at the Anamadua Base Hospital and constructed another building to house a medical-grade water purification system. Gammatha, for the people, by the people.
Has decided to increase the price of a 400-gram packet of imported milk powder by 50 rupees. This decision comes in response to a 20% increase in global milk powder prices over the past year. Accordingly, the price of a 400-gram packet of imported milk powder will rise by approximately 4.7%. New Zealand says it sees Sri Lanka as a country that can produce more of its own dairy milk. The New Zealand High Commissioner to Sri Lanka expressed these views during a discussion held in Colombo today.
Dairy exports dominate the trade statistics, as you'll see at any look in the balance sheet. But New Zealand does see the potential for this country to be producing more of its own dairy, and we want to help with that. I don't foresee Sri Lanka following a kind of a heavily industrialised model of farming that we see in some parts of the world. I don't think culturally that's a natural fit for you any more than it would be for us. But you know, I think there will be some concentration of the industry, and over time there'll be mergers and you'll see sort of farms emerge. I think Sri Lanka is perhaps a little better placed for this than some of your neighbours.
The discussion on bilateral trade and investment between New Zealand and Sri Lanka was organised by the National Chamber of Commerce. The event was attended by several key figures, including the President of the National Chamber of Commerce, Anuravarna Kulasurya.
United States President Donald Trump has said his administration will release approximately 80,000 pages of files about the assassination of John F. Kennedy, whose killing has fueled conspiracy theories for more than 6 decades.
Speaking at the Kennedy Center on Monday, Trump said the release will contain a lot of reading about the assassination of the 35th U.S. president who was killed in Dallas, Texas on the 22nd November 1963.
We have a tremendous amount of paper. You've got a lot of reading. I don't believe we're going to redact anything. I said, just don't redact. You can't redact. But we're going to be releasing the JFK files. They've been waiting for that for decades. Then I said during the campaign I'd do it, and I'm a man of my word. So tomorrow you have the JFK files.
Trump's remarks follow a January executive order calling for the release of all remaining records on the JFK assassination as well as files related to the assassinations of Robert F. Kennedy and the civil rights icon Martin Luther King Jr. Under the order, Trump instructed the Director of National Intelligence to present a plan within 15 days for the full and complete release of files on the JFK assassination.
After an epic 9 months in space, NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams are finally on their way home. Their stay on the International Space Station was only supposed to last 8 days, but their mission was dramatically extended after the spacecraft that they arrived on suffered technical problems.
3, 2, 1, ignition and liftoff. Go SpaceX, go.
The saga of Butch and Suni began in June 2024. They were taking part in the first crewed test flight of the Starliner spacecraft developed by aerospace company Boeing. But the capsule suffered several technical problems during its journey to the space station, and it was deemed too risky to take the astronauts home. Starliner returned safely to Earth empty in early September, but it meant the pair needed a new ride for their return. So NASA opted for the next scheduled flight, a SpaceX capsule that arrived at ISS in late September. It flew with 2 astronauts instead of 4, leaving 2 seats spare for Butch and Suni's return. The only catch was this had a planned 6-month mission extending the astronauts' stay until now. The arrival of a replacement crew on Sunday was the final step needed for Butch and Suni's return, and after a short handover with the new team, their mission is now at an end.
Main engine cutoff.
SpaceX Dragon, Lanka. Station operation confirmed.
They undocked from the ISS at 5:05 GMT on Tuesday and are set to splash down off the coast of Florida later the same day at 21:57 GMT. Their landing time, however, could change if the weather conditions are not good enough.
The Rise in Our Dialogue, India's premier conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics, continued for the second day today. The conference is committed to addressing the most challenging issues facing the global community.
The Rise in a Dialogue, India's premier conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics, committed to addressing the most challenging issues facing the global community, commenced on the 17th March and will end on the 19th March 2025. The conference is hosted by the Observer Research Foundation in partnership with India's Ministry of External Affairs. Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, was also in attendance at the event.
Who are we? I would say maybe that 3-4 dimensions which are important to understand India. First of all, the global south, the decolonization, because it is impossible to appreciate India's global positions without being cognizant of the colonial history. Because when you have lost your independence and struggle to recover it, there is a whole mindset which comes with it. So I would say very definitely global south is one. 2, democratic. Our choice in the 1940s to become a modern democratic polity, I argue we draw on our own traditions in that regard. To be a democratic polity, to be a market economy, to be a society which respects faiths, I think this is also a very important part of our DNA. Sometimes even we in India take it a bit for granted, but many of our positions take this into account. Third, I would argue that in a way we have navigated, adapted to a world which has not always been kind to us, which has not always been accommodating at us. But we have, in that sense, developed a certain skill of which you make some reference, but a way of really, I would call it both a tactical skill but a long view. That we have a not, a 5-year, 10-year necessarily horizon and understanding of ourselves. And for today, as the most populous country in the world, as the 5th largest economy of the world, perhaps 3rd by the end of this decade, in various other domains, you can see, we are doing more, we are contributing more. I think the idea of a multipolar world, and where India itself is concerned, to think of how to become a leading power at some point of time.
Every year, leaders in politics, business, media and civil society converge in New Delhi to discuss the state of the world and explore opportunities for cooperation on a wide range of contemporary matters. The dialogue is structured as a multi-stakeholder cross-sectoral discussion involving heads of state, cabinet ministers and local government officials who are joined by thought leaders from the private sector, media and academia.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.